Oh, yes. There's just so many. But the ooh yes that came to mind is Rashad. Has not been changed for privacy purposes. And I knew him, knew as in past tense, I no longer know him. I had known him for a while, for a few years, and we had always had a very flirtatious relationship, but given distance, nothing ever came to fruition. And we were recently finally in the same city for a period of time, and so we had been kind of seeing each other on and off, but it was kind of like, okay, are we actually going to do this? We were still like dancing around this idea of talking seriously. And we hung out one night, got physical, and afterwards, I told him, I was like, I feel like you're not ready, but let me know, what comes to mind. Didn't hear from him, and this is after hearing from him like every day consistently for a couple of weeks. And so finally, I think I might have waited a week and a half to follow up with him, and I was just like, Rashad, like, what is it? What are you trying to do? Because at that point we've had a couple years of this honest communication between us. So I was just like, what's going on? And he was like, I like you, I've always liked you, but frankly, I'd much rather be a hoe. So I've always appreciated him for his honesty, but I was like, good God, like, this is 6 years of nothing. So I would say that was the craziest thing. I don't get a lot of crazies that approach me. I will say I get like the most random people who, this is gonna make me sound like a bitch, but I'm like, what vibe did I give off that made you think that you could come over here and talk to me? I'm 5'7", I feel like I'm a tall woman compared to your average woman, and so like, I got guys that are coming over talking to me that are like 5 feet tall. I'm just like, this is very uncomfortable for me, I'm sorry, sir, like, or 18-year-olds, teenagers, fresh face, but I'm not that young anymore. Old men, like, you looking for a sugar daddy, 3-piece suit with the vest and suspenders, and I'm just like, all of this is like, again, like, what did I give off to you? Because I don't want to give it off again to any of y'all, so please tell me what it is. So yeah, I would say those are more characteristic of like the discomfort I feel when random people come up to me. But even those people, I feel like I do get approached respectfully for the most part, and that, I also get a lot of men that'll walk up to me and be like, why aren't you smiling? Like, that really irritates me. This actually just happened on my birthday. I think that's like the best way to approach me. So I was out with a few of my friends for my birthday, and I had on a birthday crown, so just walking a costume for attention. And I walked by 2 guys at the bar. I had seen them. They were decent looking, they were attractive. I was walking by them, and I don't know if they stopped me to ask me about my birthday, but they just, they stopped me. I think they said, that they were like, happy birthday, And so I was like, oh, thank you so much, blah, 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 blah. And someone asked me like another question, and it was just very natural, and I wasn't uncomfortable, and I didn't feel like instantly that they were trying to hit on me. I just felt like they were being nice people, right? And I do like people. So I stood there and talked to them a little bit, pointed out my friends, told them what we were doing. We ended up being at the same like bars later, and they were just, like I said, nice to be around, like, fit in well, were polite, offered to buy me a drink. I think even offered to buy my friends drinks, but that wasn't necessary either. They just kind of fit in, and they weren't hovering, they weren't trying to dance up on people. Everything kind of just happened organically, and I think that's the most important thing, I think, for for people who want to speak to me in general, and but especially for men. I'm very awkward when I initially meet people, so if it can happen naturally, just like, oh, by happenstance, hey, you know, what's going on, or did you notice this? Casual conversation, I think that takes the pressure off. And so I'll be much more open to maybe giving out my number. And I did. It's hard. So hard. It's so hard for like decent people, and I don't understand. So this is something I've been thinking about non-stop. I know so many wonderful women who are single, and I just really don't know why. Maybe they have, I don't know. If they have skeletons, I don't know about them, but what I see, I'm just like, why are there not men like who really are just, you know, courting the shit out of them? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. And I feel like, one, for educated, beautiful women of color, like if you're trying to date your, you know, exact opposite man who's educated, good looking, of color, like there are so few of them, and I think they recognize that. And so it's like they take advantage of it. They know that they're a hot commodity, and so they're not settling down. Like, more, you know, I was growing up, I always heard, and I have all brothers. I have 4 brothers, so like, you know, girls are more mature than men. So I'm thinking like by 30, like, you know, a guy's gonna be ready to seriously date someone. You know, like my friends and I were like, you know, approaching 30, and like now it's like, no, 35, 40, and I'm like, whoa, buddy, like, you know, stuff's going on, we need, you know, make some shake, but nobody's really ready to take things seriously. And I don't really know. I've never been this age before. I don't know if it's always been like this for women in their late 20s to date, but it's just really hard to find people who want to be serious. You know, I heard this term situationship a lot now, and like that, I don't know if the internet has something to do with that. Dating is not that difficult. I will be honest, like I go on dates. I'm not gonna sit here and lie and be like, no one ever talks to me, woe is me. No, that's not the case. But it's about like, do the people that I choose to talk to me, you know, or reciprocate. And that's not happening. Like, I don't, just people on totally different playing fields. So it's just like multifaceted issue. I downloaded Soul Swipe and Bay with 2 of my friends, with their encouragement. After I had like been single for a few months, I did have a boyfriend for 2 years, and I just, again, kind of like that level playing field. I feel like with men, and those are I think are dating apps geared towards minorities. But like the kind of men I'm interested in don't need a damn app because they're walking around on the street. And I've like encouraged my friends to go on dating apps because I think like that's just the way it is now, right? Like people are on dating apps. But I think there's a significant flood of attractive, educated, mature women on these apps, and not as much of a flood of men, you know? They're men who maybe are too shy to talk to a woman in public, or men who fear rejection, or men who've been rejected, or men who have some type of inadequacy, unfortunately. And I'm making generalizations. And so, you know, it's easier to hit on someone from behind my screen or my app or whatever, you know? Because I do think it's hard to go up to someone, talk to someone. As a woman who actually does it, I'm like, dang, this is really hard for a dude. And they get rejected frequently because, you know, I might try to talk to 10 girls and only one will reciprocate. Well, like women like don't even think to like send a guy a message first, right? It's a little off. So yeah, I think being behind my phone makes it's lower stakes. And so maybe guys are like finally like, yeah, I'm not gonna put myself out there as much as I usually would have had to without this app. So like maybe those might be the guys that are on the apps. I don't know, but at least physically, the men that all the girls are after, like, they're not on the apps physically. I do prefer someone who's taller than me, just because, and I hate that that's what I said first, but like, I'm not that feminine of a woman, so being with someone who's like physically bigger, domineering, but I do like skinny guys, I noticed that, it makes me feel more feminine. It's like, you know, part of the, I am a little colonized in thought, so like that's a little bit of my like backwards thinking. Oh, hold me. But sense of humor is super important. Someone who's independent, because I'm very independent. Like I'm not the girl who, once I have a boyfriend, my friends go to the wayside. I want to make who can be my friend's friend, like all of us to be a collective. Ambitious, because I'm ambitious. Flexible, because I'm flexible in that way. Kind of goes hand in hand with the ambition, like, you know, open to change, moving, you know, job, courses, whatever. Someone who challenges me, because I'm a complex individual, and I'm very independent, and I want someone who will, you know, who's as self-assured, and someone who will question me and make me think about what I'm doing and saying. I don't want to ever be, you know, too rigid in thought. So someone who constantly keeps me thinking is important. Honest, dear God. Honest and loyal. I think those are the most important. And then like basics, like hygiene. Like, oh God. Oh God. I'm like super sensitive to smell. Teeth. These teeth. No braces. In terms of younger, as of right now, I can only do 2 years. So like that would be 25, right? Can't do younger than that. Just, unless like this man is just like 23, got his shit together, like has lived through volcanoes and like craziness. Just because I know when I turned 25, like I felt like my life changed. Like it was the first time that I ever felt like I don't wish I was another age. You know, when I was 16, I couldn't wait to be 16. And when I was 16, I was like, dang, I need to be 18. And then when I was 18, I was like, dang, I need to be 21. And then when I turned 25, it was like, dang, I need to be 21. And like just so many changes occurred in me. And I think that's just indicative of the age. And so I feel like I need someone who's relatable, who's at where I'm at, and age plays into that, you know, just because of how long you've been on earth and how many experiences have been afforded to you, or unfortunately like done to you. So, you know, sometimes that's kind of, there's a line there. But in terms of older, I don't know, my mom and my stepdad have a huge age gap. So I've seen that play out. I would like, you know, I would hope that I fall in love with someone who I want to, you know, die with, right? So if someone's too much older, like, you know, maybe they'll die first, you know, God willing, no one gets in an accident or anything. So I don't know. I say 2 down, the range, 2 down, and maybe like 6 to 8 up. Yeah. As long as we're in the same like decade, you know? So like if I'm 30, you can be 38.
And action.
Someone go ask me my name.
You say your name.
Oh, I say it. Yeah. Okay. We still rolling?
We still rolling.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You got the tea.